Welcome inside the Rose Hill Gym before Fordham women's basketball practice. Official practice is underway. Jackson High alongside head coach Stephanie Gately. Coach, pleasure to be with you as
It's
always.
always a pleasure with you, Jackson.
Coach, obviously first week of practices now in the book. What's it been like? What's this first week officially been like now that it's in the past?
You know, kind of like a roller coaster, which I anticipated because, we've had obviously some strict protocol, and rightfully so, just to try to make sure we get the kids back and not overdo it early. So continuing to work on the conditioning. The one downfall of obviously of the virus was, everybody had different restrictions within their states of when they come back, and over half the teams in the conference probably had like a 6-week to 2-month jump start on us, and so therefore, we had to play catch up, and then the facility was shut down. So we faced some obstacles, but we've been able to overcome them, and I think the kids have done a great job.
You've mentioned obstacles. Everyone's going through them right now. And specifically for you as a coach, what's been the biggest challenge just with really not knowing what lies ahead in terms of the resemblance of what is going to be a season?
Well, I mean, never have we been in a position October 23rd to not know what our schedule is that year. We're still jockeying positions for certain games just because of restrictions and the hot states and the quarantine issues in New York. So there's still a lot of jockeying. That's a big obstacle we're facing. The two biggest challenges in coaching, now obviously the on-court stuff to me is the easy part, is usually scheduling and recruiting. Recruiting, I think we've done a fantastic job, and I'm going to give the credit to the coaching staff. I think they've worked really hard, and I think as a group we've done a super job of attaining some high-level recruits. But really the scheduling one has been, a difficult one just because of, the restrictions and the parameters.
Let's focus on the on-court stuff. Obviously a similar team to what you had a year ago with players growing up and bringing in 5 newcomers though as well. Let's talk about Anna DeWolf right now. You talked about her a few weeks ago being someone who's really stood out in the preseason. How much has she grown as a player, and what's been the thing you're most impressed with her about?
One, I think she came back stronger, which is, a big part of the college game is, she's thin, and last year she got pushed around a little bit. Even one game, one of the coaches said, get in the weight room to her. One of the opponent
Wow.
said to her on the sideline, get in the weight room,
Jeez.
which added some fire to Anna, and that might have been one of the motivators this summer. So I think she's done a really good job of with Josh of improving, strength in her game. Leadership, so an intangible, that you can't physically see, and she's done an outstanding job with that. She's one of our top vote getters for captain, and that's a really impressive thing considering she's only a sophomore. And just, with Bryson gone, now all of a sudden we need somebody to step up.
Yep.
And Anna has been willing to take that lead, and she's good with taking that last shot that typically, last year we went a different direction. So I think that is a great situation for us.
You mentioned Bryson's gone. You have 2 missing pieces from last year, but you bring in 5 new pieces as well with 5 new freshmen. How much of a role do you expect them to play this year, and how have they fared so far with this crazy preseason that's happened?
I think the freshmen, first of all, they're a really tight unit, which I think is great because chemistry has a lot to do with any team's success, and I think that's something we've built our, kind of hung our hat on. And I like what I'm seeing of the freshmen. A big part that they're trying to learn is the game speed at the next level, and not knowing that you have to go hard every single second. Because again, you come from high school and you're the best player, and nobody's really telling you to do anything wrong. That's typical of the high school kid, and they come in here and we're like, you're not the best player and you're not going hard enough. And so therefore there's that adjustment as well as being away from home and what have you, and living in a pandemic, so I'm excited about what some of the freshmen will bring. Bailey will be a red shirt, so we won't anticipate obviously anything from her at this point, but I think Miranda Nyberg has done some really nice things along, with Riley and Matilda, which we call Tilly.
Coach, it's required a lot of mental fortitude to get through what has happened over these last few months. How do you feel like experiencing this for your team will help their mentality going forward?
Like you mentioned earlier, everybody's going through it, and I've said at the very beginning when we realized summer school wasn't going to be on, and we said the team at the end that's going to be holding the trophy is the team that wins the weight, so to speak. Who's going to do all the work now that's going to show off once we get to that time? And so, as you mentioned, everybody's facing those obstacles. It's the ones that overcome the obstacles the quickest and the best are the ones that are going to be at the top at the end of it. I mean, I think our kids, with the obstacles we face with replacing players, we've already hit obstacles, right? So that on top of that, you throw the COVID. So, this is a hungry group, and it's funny because DC, our middle son, he works with the Heat. And the thing I always loved about listening to them as they made their run through the playoffs is the chip on the shoulder. So I think our kids will have a chip on their shoulder and have something to prove.
Coach, even with a start date for the season, there still is so much uncertainty surrounding out-of-conference schedule. Even with the A-10 schedule, no one really knows what it looks like right now. Even with that all said, what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to this season?
Just growth every day. I was on a Zoom yesterday that was for, self-improvement, so to speak, and with one of our former players' dads who's starting up a company, and he was talking about, a book that he read is like, it's not necessarily all the things on the court, it's everything that entails to being successful. So for us, our goal is to win the day every day as a person, as an athlete and as a student, and not necessarily in that order. And I just think, one of my responsibilities, and I've been on a lot of Zooms recently with recruits, is developing the overall person. I think we have unbelievable representation for Fordham, and our young ladies with an overall GPA of 3.5 and having great success on the court. And so I'm extremely proud of them. And I just, obviously we have some obstacles to overcome like everybody else, but, I believe that this group will do that.
Coach, a pleasure to catch up as always. Great to see you, and best of luck with everything going forward.
Thanks, Jackson. I look forward to us being without a mask in the near future.
Me too. Welcome inside the Rose Hill Gym. Jackson Heil alongside sophomore guard Sarah Carpel. Sarah, first week of practices officially in the book. How's it been?
It's been going really well. Everyone's been working really hard. We've been getting after each other, talking to each other, going as hard as we can. Everyone's doing extra workouts, doing everything they can to stay ready for the season, even though we don't exactly know when that will begin yet.
Obviously unprecedented times for sure, and
probably
a very unique preseason for you guys. What was the biggest challenge for you personally, trying to make sure that you would stay ready even with so much uncertainty?
Just trying to keep my head in it, focus on what's important, just trying to work out every day, do what I can to keep myself ready, even though we obviously don't know what's going to come, but just trying to stay ready, and I know everyone on the team's been doing the same.
Sarah, after a few games last year, you were pretty much a starter the rest of the way. Obviously coming off a freshman year where you were really involved, especially on the defensive end of the floor, what's the biggest thing you're looking to improve on personally going forward this year?
Definitely, I'd say my shooting range. I'd definitely like to improve on that. But even with that, I just want to keep doing what I can for the team, keep playing good defense, keep being the point guards.
As I mentioned, you were a freshman last year. You got 5 newcomers this year. What's it been like watching them for the first month plus so far, and what's been your biggest advice to them after experiencing what you did last year?
It's been really good. Some of them are my roommates. I live with a lot of them, so we've been talking to them a lot, me and Anna, just kind of taking them under our wing. And they've been doing a great job, working really hard, and just doing everything they can.
Obviously, last thing here, not really a whole lot of certainty as to what's going to happen this season. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to?
Just getting to play with my teammates, win games. That's all I look forward to. So,
Sarah, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
All right, inside the Rose Hill Gym once again, Jackson Heil joined by junior captain Caitlin Downey. Caitlin, pleasure to be with you as always. How's everything?
Great to be here. Thank you.
Obviously, first week of practices now in the books. What's it been like now knowing that it is officially here and you're really gearing up for the season now?
It's really, really exciting. I mean, for a long time, we're in this waiting period. What's it going to be? And now that we're in the gym, our intensity is picking up. We know there's a goal ahead of us, and we're setting out for November 25th, and we're excited.
Caitlin, there's obviously a lot of challenges for everyone going through what everyone has had to go through with COVID-19 and obviously a very unprecedented preseason. What's been the biggest obstacle and challenge for you making sure you're staying motivated with so much uncertainty that lies ahead?
I think it's just the mindset. I mean, the mental game is the biggest challenge I think a lot of us are facing. We compete every day on the court, but then sometimes the realization comes in that there's not always certainty in what we're competing for. But we have changed our mindset that we're looking forward to November 25th with serious intent, and we just have to go with a day-by-day intent to get better each day.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned through this process, going through last year, and now really being the individual leader going into this season?
I think having a year underneath my belt gave me a lot of confidence, and being a leader, you have to be confident even when you don't feel it inside. And that's one thing I'm specifically working on this year, is even if I'm not feeling it that day, no one has to know that. And just bringing the intensity. We have a lot of upperclassmen that are great leaders in themselves, so just being able to work together, communicate at all times, and just effectively lead those freshmen.
You talked about improvements. You've made a lot of strides on the court and as a leader, like we talked about. What's the biggest thing you're looking to improve on the court, whether it's a personal goal or a team goal this year?
I think communication. I mean, it's always an area that can be improved by any leader. Whether I'm tired, whether I'm not feeling great that day, it's crucial no matter what stage you're at to always be communicating, always be talking through plays, being that assistant, being that helping hand for others.
Let's go off the court for a second. You have a vlog, you and Idona, Keeks and on Eddie's for Tea.
Yep.
Tell us where that idea came from and tell us how's it going.
It honestly came from a quarantine idea where we want to connect the student athlete to the student community in a fun way. So we kind of stole the idea, 94 feet with Jay Bills, and brought it to Eddie's Field. So every 2 weeks we bring in an athlete and we give them some questions, learn more about them, and then we learn one of their skills on whatever court or field they take.
Lastly, before we wrap up, obviously an unprecedented season lies ahead. What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to?
I'm just taking on the challenge as it goes. You know, a lot of teams are worrying about what's the next step. I think our team specifically is just working. We're in a day-by-day struggle right now. It's just every day we're getting better, every day we're pushing, and we're just looking forward to the next game. We're not looking what is March going to look like. We're looking what November 25th is going to look like.
Caitlin, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.